There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Oh, what's up and welcome into this episode number, what episode number are we on?
160.
I always do this. 160 of the Program Guys Podcast. My name is Mason Prince. Joined with you, as always, we're rolling 5 deep today. Ryan Tyson, Patrick Hertzberger, Matt Gann, Mark Hall, myself. Today is Thursday, January 30th. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Find us on all of our social media at Program Guys with a Z. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where you can find us. Gentlemen, we are back. The boys are back. Rolling 5 deep. How we living? Patrick, I want to start with you because I don't want Ryan to jump in first. How we doing, Pat?
Doing great, baby. Just in Colorado skiing, working,
Dude.
living
Hell yeah.
every day.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Must be tough.
Must be tough. Matt Gann, is your life tough?
It is not. Getting back into the grind of things. It's already 30 days in January. It's almost February. Where does the time go? Just flies on by. You got to grab on and go for the ride of life. You know what I mean?
Cliche Gann, at it again. What are you up to, Ryan?
Ride of life. We just had our house painted, so I am now officially back in my house. I was
Heck yeah.
gone for a week, staying at the in-laws. That was a lot of fun. Really appreciate them, but I'm glad to be home. So
Love
good to
that.
see everybody.
Mark Hall, repping the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm just like really busy and I'm dieting and I hate it. Like you don't appreciate how much joy you derive from food
Right.
until you're not deriving joy from food. It's a real absence. So
You need some advice?
no, I don't.
Tofu and lentils, baby.
We
Come
hear
on down.
plenty unsolicited advice. I don't need any. Thank you.
Matt. Oh, Matt. Okay, so we are here. We are here
We're
talking about the Sooners. What are we starting with? I can't even remember.
I think we
Tim
start with.
Knowles.
I think we start with what Mark
haven't
mentioned. No,
I know I haven't opened it. I
know.
like since earlier, and I didn't know if we changed it, so I can look now. Though.
I think we got to start with Knowles, right?
Yeah, I think we
I mean, yeah, the Knowles thing is.
I was gonna start with D.D. Westbrook.
What about him?
What's that, Pat?
Yeah.
He's the
This is
new
so
wide
out of
receiver
touch.
coach at OU. I mean, that's what people are saying. Maybe.
He's going to be
wide
a
receiver
what?
coach at OU.
Yeah, that'd be $100.
He's going to be what?
The new wide receiver coach at OU. You come to us for insider information here. On
Insider
the Program Guys
information.
broadcast.
No one else has this yet. Only us at Program 405. I mean, guys.
Yeah, no one's got it. That's me.
Wait,
That's me,
Patrick,
Captain
I have
Ginger.
I have so many questions. Where did this
We're
come
making
from?
fun. We're making fun of the OU insiders.
Oh.
by by
See,
not having
I'm not smart
any
enough for you
scoops
guys.
at all.
I'm not
Sooner
smart
Scoop,
enough.
quite a funny name. Now that you're thinking about it, what scoops do they have? I'm curious. And the insider guys, hoof,
Sounds like Toby Rowland could start charging
Dude.
$400 a month.
Toby
He
Rowland
could.
coming in with this like massive news update.
Heat-seeking missile.
yeah,
Like good for you, man.
yeah. It's so funny to me because like one of those insiders like tweeted like, "Oh, Toby with the scoop of the year," like kind of like jokingly or like giving him credit. At the same time, I'm like, brother, this guy is like an arm of the school. If he's breaking news before you, you're doing your job incorrectly. Like, he should not be getting scoops. His job is to not get scoops. His job is to be a mouthpiece for the university. If he's getting scoops, y'all are doing your job wrong. And what are you getting paid for?
How's he on that first? He has a whole other job he does for the university.
Like a
Yes.
full-time
Yes.
probably salary
He
gig.
has a whole other job that he does that where he's checked by the
Every day.
university. He's checked. He has to go through them to do his job. And for him to be like, oh, hey, here's some info. And they're like, yep, you got that, Toby. And then he says it. Like, dude, what are y'all doing?
Must be something we don't know. Because it's just so wacky.
It's so goofy, man. It's so goofy. Matt, what do you have to say?
Nothing on that, but I can dive into Jim Knowles whenever we're
Oh,
ready.
God, no. Please
Matt
do.
Are
doesn't
you
want
are
to
you
talk about the
shocked? Are you
gossip.
shocked about the Knowles news, Matt? I'll start with that.
Uh, I mean, based on what we were seeing from our own insiders, a little bit, right? Because everything seems like it was pointing towards Jim Knowles coming back to the state of Oklahoma. Obviously, as he coached the DC coordinator position at Oklahoma State a few years back, I think he would come down a little farther south to Norman and join the other best defensive mind in the country with Brent Venables. So a little bit, but also it doesn't surprise me knowing that he's also from Philadelphia, went to St. Joe's Prep. He's got a lot of ties to the community and area. So going to Penn State, he's going to be an absolute beast on the recruiting trail. So now seeing he's going to Penn State for the amount of money he's getting, it makes a lot of sense to me now.
$3 million a year, I believe.
Which is
3.1.
something
3 point, I think.
OU also offered a similar package, but going back home,
We
having
don't.
the
We don't.
ties.
Well,
People
we've
have
seen
said, we have,
reporting, and all
people
we
have
can
said
do
that,
is
but
well,
like
but it's the same reporters that we're
Yeah,
talking about,
wrong.
right? So,
That was my
uh,
point. Yeah.
So
and by that I mean Patrick said it.
yeah, Patrick did say
He
it.
just decided it and
Yeah.
said it, and we're running with it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it sucks, but in hindsight, we clearly got sort of played. And I do believe there was probably a genuine phone call between Jim Knowles and Brent Venables feeling each other out, right? And there's probably real consideration about coming to Oklahoma. But when it came down to it, they wanted to gin up interest and they got it.
Mhm.
And he's going to be the highest paid defensive coordinator, ever, I
Yeah.
think, in college football. So good for Jim Knowles, but I am tired of seeing the University of Oklahoma used as a stepping stone or a bargaining chip to Penn State made the playoff. It's not a
About
lesser
to say
program,
West
but
Virginia.
Oklahoma's Oklahoma. It sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Pat, go ahead. Jump in there, man.
Yeah, as soon as we didn't get him 24 hours after the national championship game, I no longer felt confident
Same.
in the Jim Knowles hire. And I'm happy it didn't happen. You don't want to pay a second defensive mind $2.5 million. Just doesn't make sense. And I know he's getting paid more than three, but I imagine we probably would have not landed that high. So I'm saying 2.5. That'd be a waste of money, in my opinion.
Well, and that's the good point, Patrick, about all of this and why I feel okay about it. Yeah, would Jim Knowles have been awesome? For sure. It would have been sick. But you know the defensive scheme that you're running right now works. So why Jim, and this is something we talked about 2 weeks ago, but Jim's coming in, he's not gonna run. He may run a little bit of Brent stuff, but it's going to be his thing. He's not getting paid $3 million to come in and run somebody else's scheme. He's going to run his own thing, especially with Brent and co being on the rocks and on the hot seat as much as they are. Why would you come in and run somebody else's thing? Your goal is to keep a job for yourself. So you would show what you have. Yeah, I don't feel terrible about it because they could hire a Zach Alley, a nobody, and they'll be fine. That is, as long as they're running Brent's system, I feel like it's going to work. Why not take an experimental hire like you did with Alley? Get another young guy, someone with energy, someone who's going to want to get on the recruiting trail and work. Do that. Not saying Knowles wasn't that guy, but just an example.
So I'm gonna swerve a little differently than y'all, and I think this was. I'm not saying that this will negatively impact the defense of Oklahoma. Like that, I don't. I think it's going to be a solid defense next year. I think it's going to be, under BV. Personally, I think he's going to probably take the reins as kind of the DC next year. It just seems like that's where this is all headed. I think this is a really bad, kind of going back to Mark's point, I think this is a really bad like image perception problem with the University of Oklahoma. Like not only did we get like just left at the altar by Zach Alley for West Virginia, but then there's rumors all about Jim Knowles coming to Oklahoma. He's got ties to the state. And our own insiders are dropping things like, oh yeah, he's done. He's here and all this stuff. And then we get skirted at the last minute for Penn State. Notre Dame was in play. Ohio State was still in play. And And it just feels to me like this program, after the year that they've had in the last 3 years that they've had, really needed a win from a perception standpoint, needed from like a I would say like morale, but not really morale. Just like, do we actually believe that Brent Venables can turn this ship around before next year? Like, that's the question that is lingering over this entire next season of football. And I think hiring Jim Knowles would have been like, oh, yeah, this is still the University of Oklahoma. This is still the power player, the blue blood. You can never count them out. And now we're sitting here getting burned by two DCs and really unsure about the next year and what it's going to look like. I like personally, I don't really care much about how this would have impacted the defense. I think from a perception standpoint, this is really bad. Like I don't think this is good. I don't think it's good to be scorned by two people.
Same time, our retention of the best defensive players that we could retain was locked in after Zach Alley left and before any of the
Yes.
Jim Knowles talk happened,
Yes.
while the DC position was open. We just recently got a crystal ball from Sam Spiegelman of On Three, I want to say, for KJ Ford, the Duncanville edge, who very well could be a 5-star by the time he hits college, to go to Oklahoma. That's without a defensive coordinator. I think that everything that we're all sort of saying is true. You just need a guy who can learn the defense well enough to call plays. And if that guy has a different flavor on how he likes to run a defense than Brent, that's fine. He still has to learn this defense because this is what the players know. This is what the current staff knows. You've got to be able to plug and play a little bit. And that seems to limit your options quite a bit. I still think Wes Goodwin has to be probably the most likely former Clemson defensive coordinator, but if it hasn't happened yet, they're probably still interviewing elsewhere, right? While Brent just handles all the recruiting trips. So
Right.
I hope they get someone done, and I'm like you guys. I hope it's someone young, like Zach Alley was supposed
Hmm.
to be. The
Hmm.
problem is they don't make a million Zach Alleys. He's a
Right.
special defensive coach.
Right. And I didn't mean to discredit Zach Alley at all. If I
Oh, for
did
sure.
earlier,
Didn't sound like it.
I think he's a great coach, and like we all know probably why that move to West Virginia happened. You can only make a name for yourself in a shadow for so long. You kind of need to go make a name for yourself elsewhere. But anything else on the Jim Knowles thing before we move on? Still no news on a DC, so you guys will know when we do, or not. Maybe they'll post a YouTube video and take it down. Who knows? I don't know.
When we play Penn State in the playoff next year, I hope we score 1,000,000 points.
Same.
Wow, I
Hope we
love
do as
that
well.
energy.
Hope we do
I'm
as
over
well.
here like
But
doom
the
scrolling
the not even but
as usual.
it's gonna be really cool for Jim Knowles because Penn State always gets dudes on the defensive side of the ball,
Oh yeah,
and with him being able to coach them up, that's gonna be
they're gonna be
sick.
really
It's gonna be
good.
sick. They have no quarterback. They have no offense.
He's coming back.
Like yeah, but he's not
So-
that good.
I know,
I-
but he's gonna be an NFL guy. Like it's
Dude,
just
so
it's gonna
crazy.
happen. He's better
So
than
crazy.
most Big Ten quarterbacks.
You're right. You're not wrong. Okay, real quick, I think we should just touch on real quickly Daniel Odom, 2026 wide receiver, committed to Oklahoma.
Bang.
He's a 4-star, 6'2", 193, Bellflower, California. Chose
Bang.
OU over Texas and Oregon. So
Bang.
shout out
That's a good
Emmett
win.
Jones, man. Shout out Emmett Jones.
No, it was the D.D. Westbrook connection.
Yeah, that was the D. Westbrook connection for sure.
Yeah, shout out to D.D. Westbrook getting that recruitment done, locked in kind of early. Daniel Odom is a childhood friend with Jaden O'Neal. And
Yeah.
while
I see that.
there's smoke out there that O'Neal could end up flipping, especially in light of, we haven't talked about this, Oklahoma offering and not yet securing the commitment of a 4-star quarterback in Bo Bentley out there with Jaden O'Neal still committed. This makes me think it's a little bit safer with O'Neal, even if I'm not yet going to count those eggs before they hatch,
Right,
chickens before they hatch.
right. A little recruiting inside information from your boy. I'm not saying anything that uh, I heard from a birdie
Birdie.
in my sauces that 4-star 2026 running back Caden Jones out of Jinx released his top 5. OU was in that top 5 as well as Tennessee, uh, Kansas, Oregon, I believe, and Vanderbilt, I want to say.
Yeah, Vandy was there.
Yeah. So he released that top 5 like last week. I hear he's looking to make a decision somewhat soon. This is not from his mouth, so I want to give Katie all the credit in the world. I'm getting this secondhand. I'm not getting this from Katie himself.
Sure.
But I hear that decision should be coming up rather quickly as opposed to waiting towards the summer. So
That's hot.
Caden Jones, son of OU running back Kewan Jones, who was a ton of fun when he played for OU. KD is a fantastic running back. Be really cool to see him go to OU, but a lot of good options for him as well. So be on the lookout for that.
Insider info.
Wait, Mason, are you dropping your balls?
Is this a Mason?
No, I cannot drop my balls for him because look. Do I want the kid to go to OU? Yes, he's a great kid, fantastic athlete. I think he's got a top 5, but that kid was not in class this week because every D1 school that came this week wanted to talk to Katie Jones.
It's gotta be so cool.
And that was Miami. That was Miami. That was Utah. That was Vanderbilt. Tennessee came down. UCLA. Like a lot of D1 schools coming to talk to this kid. And he's got a top 5, and I don't have any insider information, but like this race is far from won by anybody. So it'd be interesting to see where he ends up. But I'd love for him to come to you. I'd be the first person in line to buy his NIL jersey. 100%.
I feel like that was a confirmation. Mason did just drop a ball. Let's move on.
Before we move on from Odom, I was just watching a couple of his highlights, and dude, this is a big body wide receiver that would be a nice fit for OU moving forward. You know, based on what I'm reading, good off the line, good all around game, strong hands, releasing and getting separation. Dude, 6'2", 190. I will take all of it. He looks really good in his tape, so really excited about Odom to continue to propel this wide receiver room in the positive direction. The thing that we haven't seen from Emmett Jones yet, and again, maybe it's a little bit of a one-off year, he's really good at recruiting these guys. Can he develop them in season?
Good point.
For them to take the next level? Because again, it was a one-off year. We had our top 5 guys out, but we want to see the development of these guys over the season. So if he's going to continue to recruit at a high level, we want to see them live up to their expectations. And I think we're going to need to see that this year with some of the younger guys coming in. So, and obviously some of the transfers and what the rotation is going to be. So need to see that next jump from a coaching perspective.
Y'all ever watch CeeDee Lamb highlights just to feel something?
Dude.
All the time.
Dude, that play in the Big 12 championship against Baylor popped up on my feed today. And I was like, God,
So hot.
what a special freaking football player, man. I think that was crazy.
It reminds me now, though, of how pissed off I'd get when the CeeDee Lamb route was usually just like, hey, run 5 yards and look for the ball. Like everyone else is running the route and you might not get it, but don't spend time doing other stuff.
Yeah. Oh, man. Go, Matt.
I was going to say the one other thing on recruiting side, this is more for a 2025 guy, Tristan Haynes. I sent you guys this on X, but a guy that's committed from Carl Alberts, cornerback from Carl Alberts, jumped 100 spots in the 2025 class. So he's actually now a top 100 prospect.
Sourcing. Who's the is it Rivals 247 on 3?
247. Yeah.
247.
247.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, and says he also closes as the class #1 player in the state of Oklahoma. So
good.
Congrats to him. And another big guy coming into OU's recruiting class this offseason. So
the number 1 player in the state has to go to OU.
Yep.
Period.
Every time.
Every time.
Beyond that, offensive tackle Michael Fasusi ends as offensive tackle 1 in
OT1.
the
Bang.
class of 25 too. So eat your heart out, Eden Ball haters.
Eat it out. He did it. He did the darn thing. Okay, fun little segment real quick. We're gonna kind of, I don't not say blind rank, but who's
We're gonna
the
show
best
our
Sort of blind rank.
who's
We're
the
gonna show
best
our ass.
quarterback in the SEC heading into the 2025 season? OU's got a new quarterback. No longer with the Jackson Arnold, Michael Hawkins experience. John Mateer coming in. Jackson Arnold at Auburn. You have Jackson Dart leaving.
Are we going through all of them?
No, I'm just naming
Okay.
like big names who are gone. Jalen Milroe out. Jackson Dart out. Quinn Ewers
Out.
Out from
Out.
Texas.
We know
at
out.
least.
No,
Yeah,
Oh
we
no,
know
he
out.
said
Yeah.
he said he declared. Okay.
So then,
So
so
Arch
then you
is
have
coming
Arch.
in.
You have Arch Manning and
You still
Lenore
got-
Sellers. Lenore
still got
Sellers is
Nico
another
at
big guy.
UT.
Well, yeah,
at
Patrick's
Tennessee.
favorite football player,
Mhm.
Nico Iamaleava.
Yeah.
Nico.
Iamaleava.
Nussmeier, LSU. Who's at A&M?
Marcel
Marcel
Reed.
Reed.
Marcel Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
call,
right.
Mark. Good call.
Thanks, dude.
All right, so
I have
everyone,
the outline open. too.
everyone, just let's do this round the table real quick. Give me your number one quarterback in the SEC. Pat, start with you. Who's your number one?
Nussmeier.
I agree.
Nussmeier. Okay. You say Nussmeier. Ryan has Nussmeier. Who do you got, Mark?
Y'all got me messed up.
I have Lenore
So
Sellers.
this is looking for 25, right?
Yes.
This
Yeah.
is looking
Yeah,
at
this is-
Yeah,
this
I would probably
upcoming-
say
Who's gonna have
him
the
or
best season?
Sellers.
I'm gonna go Sellers.
Yeah,
with
I have Sellers.
With a 1B to DJ Lagway. I think he's going to
Wow.
be
Okay.
awesome next season for
Okay.
the Florida Gators.
DJ Lagway
I mean, we
was
definitely
very
saw
fun.
glimpses of DJ, but through 9 picks. I mean, he's a freshman. I mean, he came in faster than what people thought, obviously, with Graham Mertz getting hurt very early in the year. So he had to be put on display quite often. He did definitely show flashes. So I could definitely see him taking another jump.
So let's, for the sake of argument, let's say we have Nussmeier and Sellers at 1-2. Where do you put Mateer in this ranking of 14 quarterbacks? Where does he fall?
I just don't know. I don't know where you put Arch yet.
See, that's my thing too. I think Arch is an interesting one because yeah, the signs are there, but we don't really see him in real situations yet. Patrick, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. I think DJ Lagway 3.
Okay.
I think he's definitely up there. And then I go John Mateer. Just looking at the production stat he had last year,
Mm-hmm.
he had more production than Arch, obviously. He had more production than Nico. So I put him at 3 or 4, and I think I'm pretty comfortable with that.
I think I have him above Nico.
Oh,
and I'm
Sellers.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm
Right.
comfortable with that. I have him above Brady Cook, like who's a guy who's returning. I have him above him. Taylor Green had a
who's coming-
productive year, but I have him above Taylor Green.
Who's coming in for Alabama? Is it like a 5-star?
Ty Simpson.
Yeah,
Ty Simpson. He hasn't
Okay.
played, but he's been Milroe's backup.
Okay, well,
but
I just don't know where you put Arch, and I don't know where you put a 5-star Alabama guy coming in.
yeah.
I feel like
I
Arch
think-
has to be somewhere within that like top 6 or top 5. Because I think he's with the coach and the talent that they have, and obviously the glimpses we saw. Because he's going to use his legs a lot more than Ewers, and I think Sark's going to take advantage of that. So I could see him having a fantastic year. Unfortunately, just don't know what his ceiling is.
Go ahead, Mark.
I think we're underplaying Taylor Green for Arkansas. That dude made plays last season. And I think we're underplaying Nico with another year under Heupel a little bit. That said, John Mateer definitely fits in, I think, right above those two. And Arch has to come somewhere after that also. I think at that point, your balance has to flip towards the potential is too high for him to be any lower.
Mm-hmm.
Ass.
Well, and I think I'm comfortable Mateer just saying he's a top 5. A top five quarterback in the
I think
SEC.
he's probably 5.
Okay. See,
That's
so
kind of
top
5 or 6. That's kind of
so
where I would.
6
I
is
think,
not a top
slot
5.
him.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
realize that.
that's where you insult him. Yes. Okay. I'm with you.
I'd be surprised if he's lower than 6 at the end of this year.
I would too.
Well, if he was lower than 6, you might be in trouble.
Right.
Just saying. He's
Or-
got to
I
be like a
mean,
top
like
2 or
what
3
was
quarterback, I
Jackson
think.
Arnold this year?
The
Yeah.
bottom, the
Yeah,
last
so-
quarterback.
Yeah, might have
Even
been
if
last.
he's 7, we're not that much worse than we were probably last year. So
I mean, that's a good point. Like you
We are
really
at
you
the
really
bottom of the
need
barrel.
you need Mateer to be a top 3 quarterback in the SEC is really what you need to be a good football team, in my opinion. But again, we had this conversation during college football playoff, and I mean, Will Howard impressed during the playoff, but during the season, was Will Howard anything special? Not really. He wasn't.
I don't even think he really impressed during the playoff. I just think he had so many talented
Fair.
people around him. Like Jeremiah Smith is ungodly. And like it's just
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that was Will Howard.
I think Will Howard stepped up his game in the playoff for sure.
Yeah.
I, yeah. I don't know, man. I think I don't think he needs to be a top 3 quarterback. I think with the defense that we're gonna have coming in, if you just don't have an apocalypse in the receiver room, a slightly above average offense with our defense is going to knock skulls. I think that's going to be what happens. But
That makes me
again,
happy.
29 touchdowns, that's what most of all of these guys tied with Garrett Nussmeier last season. You know, he's as productive and proven as anyone. He's just done it in the current Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean that's why I figure is like, what if LSU played Washington State schedule? Don't you think Nussmeier would be Heisman favored, probably have 50+ touchdowns? I mean, the schedule is just so weak.
Well, Nussmeier
Well,
also
he's a-
like they're just adding to their receiving core this upcoming year, and I think he's gonna go off. I think that LSU team's gonna be really good offensively, just with the talent that they're gonna have.
Yeah.
And I'm including Nick Anderson in that, unfortunately.
Let us know down
Dagger to the
below.
heart.
Let us know down below in the comments how you're ranking these SEC quarterbacks heading into 2025. Who you got as the best in the SEC, and where does John Mateer rank among those 14 quarterbacks that we're talking about? All right, Matt, you want to circle the wagons real quick?
I sure can. Let me circle them real quick. Let's start with basketball. Let's start with women's basketball, who started
Yay.
conference play. They are overall 16-4, but only 4-3 in conference play. They're finding it to be a very similar gauntlet that the men is facing. The OU women's SEC schedule is very hard. They are facing ranked team after ranked team. So when they started SEC play, they played Texas, lost 80-73, got a big bounce back win against Tennessee, lost to Mississippi State in a heartbreak, just way too many turnovers. Came back and beat A&M, Missouri, but then they played the best team in the country, South Carolina, and they got a little bit of a whooping, 101-60, 40 points in a women's basketball game. That is a pretty wide margin, but that's why South Carolina has been the pinnacle of women's basketball for a long time now, and they really got a taste of that. But then they got a pretty good comeback win against Georgia, 86-55. But now they got to play number 7 LSU, number 13 Kentucky, and then they'll play Ole Miss over the next week. So they are really getting into the heart of the schedule, and I think the biggest plague for OU women's basketball continues to be the turnovers. You know, they're getting into double digit, close to 20 turnovers in some of these games, and that just can't happen when you play these really tough opponents. But that's really been the Achilles heel all year with some of these games, is the amount of turnovers. So hopefully Jenny B can get the girls going, because they definitely have the offensive firepower to keep up. OU men's basketball just really continuing to trend in the wrong direction. 15-5 overall, but 2-5 in conference play. They did get a very big SEC win over Arkansas, which was a really tight game all the way until the end. But then they came back and lost to number 13 Texas A&M, 75-68. And the biggest plague for the men's basketball team is they can't rebound worth a poo. I mean, they
That
get
that
out
stat
rebounded
line.
every single game. Yeah, it's really every single game that they lose. You just look at the offense and defensive rebounding, and they are just getting outplayed on the glass. It is really tough for them to get possessions or extra chances on the offensive board. So that continues to be really their plague in SEC play. Doesn't get any better for them. They play Vandy, but then they got to play Auburn again and Tennessee upcoming. So that SEC gauntlet schedule is not letting up anytime soon. They are currently projected at a number 12 seed. You know, they started almost single digits and now they've worked their way up to a double digit seeding. And if they're not careful, they can definitely find themselves on the bubble or out. Again, the only thing really keeping them in play are the two early wins in the year against Michigan and Arizona. If they can just get a few more conference wins, definitely will put them in the tournament. And the SEC right now is projecting over 10 teams to be in the NCAA tournament. That is how dominant they have been this year. So wouldn't surprise me if OU can sneak in there, but they're going to have to squeak out a few more wins if they want to make it. So that's OU and women's basketball. Turning over to gym, men's gym is 5-1. Recently beat Illinois 330, 325. They will compete against Ohio State and Stanford over the next week. OU's women's gym continues to be number one this year. They're 8-0. Started SEC play against Missouri and then coming up with another big win against Alabama. They will compete against Arkansas and Kentucky over the next week as well as they continue SEC play. So women's gym going for hopefully another title at the end of the year. So those are really the major sports going on right now. And that is Circle the Wagons.
Thank you so much, Matt Gann, for circling those wagons. We appreciate you. Okay, little AFC NFC championship talk. We're not going to talk Super Bowl until next week, but just real quick, our thoughts on the AFC NFC championships, respectively. Pat, you can start. Are you a Bills guy, or are you sad that they lost?
I'm an anti-Chiefs guy. Anti-Chiefs guy.
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, for that reason, I am sad the Bills lost. Man, Philly Chiefs. Oh, sorry, we'll talk about that next week. But yeah, I don't think the Commanders had a chance. And
They didn't.
let's take out the Texans. Let's take out the Bills. The 50-50 calls go to the Chiefs. And because of that, you have to be up by like 7 to 10 points, because if it's a 3-point game, you're never going to win it.
And did you think Josh Allen got that fourth down conversion?
I think so. Yeah.
No.
I don't think so. In the replay,
You
in
hate the Bills.
He didn't get it. Look at the line.
No. I think in the replay, when it's like the mosh pit, you can't really tell. Wait, which one are you talking about? There's two, right?
The main
Yeah,
one.
the one at the end, the last
Yeah.
one. The last one.
Right. Yeah. It's 50-50, and it's 50-50 at home against the Chiefs. You're not going to get it. So, I mean, no.
I just don't.
But I think,
don't think he got
I think he might have. Both announcers said he did.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
I mean,
You couldn't see the ball.
Well,
that's the end of the
it's
story.
more
I
of
don't
just
think you
one
can
thing.
say
That's
he did
the
or
thing.
didn't.
If you can't see the ball, you have to go with the call that's made on the
Yeah,
field.
but the top ref sideline was giving a first down. It was the backline judge, or maybe it's the opposite way, that called it
But
short.
the top
I don't
line
think
couldn't
either
see
can
the
see
ball. He couldn't
Okay,
see
so
the ball.
my biggest issue, forget the refs. How does soccer and these other sports have trackers
Tennis.
in the balls to
Yeah.
show, and even tennis, right, to show where the ball is at? How has that technology not been implemented in the NFL, the most watched, most revenue sport of all time? Like,
There's
these
just not enough
controversial
money.
calls-
So people will talk about this kind of stuff. It
Well,
brings up
it's
interest.
every single year we have this type of controversy of it being short or not over the goal line. Why can't they implement the same type of technology? That's my biggest thing at the end of the day. Again, the Chiefs get all the calls. It's a little bit rigged, but how can they not spot and know where the ball is at this point? It's ridiculous.
Matt, question for you.
Yes.
Where in the football do you put such a sensor?
I think you have to have probably three sensors, one on each point, and then probably somewhere in the middle to make sure it's calibrated right. That would be the only way, I would think. to make sure it would be more foolproof. I mean, you have to have multiple sensors. It can't just be one, right?
Right.
Based on
I
how they're
imagine you can't do it
holding
because
it.
the first down line moves, whereas in soccer and tennis that line doesn't move; it's out of bounds or past the goal line. I don't know if the technology will ever be there. But to Mason's question, I hate the Chiefs. The calls always go their way for the most part. I don't think that Worthy caught the ball. He had one hand on it and the ground. That's not a catch.
No, that
think
was
he
a
caught
catch. That was a catch.
That was
caught
not a catch.
That was a catch.
There's
Rewatch
no
I think
it.
he
way
caught
that
it.
was a catch.
It was a catch.
I think it was.
It wasn't.
He had his
I took
hand
a
on it.
screenshot of it because I mean
He
I
had
took
his
the
hand on
multiple
it.
screenshots because it's just ridiculous.
So,
Was the other
I
one.
took
Oh,
multiple screenshots.
and the 2-minute warning thing for the second. I mean, come on.
yeah,
Give me a
yeah.
break.
That's rigged.
So I'm
That's
just saying
rigged.
that there's 3 controversial calls that happened in the game.
I don't
and
think the
Texans
Worthy
before
call was
that. And it's not about the
controversial.
Texans or the Bills. There are calls that go the Chiefs' way that, and I feel bad for the Chiefs because it takes away their greatness, honestly. It does.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
does. And I would hate if I were a Chiefs fan because it's taking it away. You can't tell me if all those 50-50 shots were reversed against the Bills and the Texans' late hits weren't a thing, that those games are completely different. And the Chiefs have been having to deal with this for years, and it sucks for them. It does.
I'm telling you right now, all due respect, those Chiefs fans don't give a singular damn about none of that. Doesn't take away nothing from them. They
For them, yeah.
they
but,
see rings, and that's all that matters.
But I think
Like-
if we're going to compare the Patriots and the Chiefs one day, if the Chiefs make it as far as the Patriots do, I'm going to go Patriots
One
every
day.
time.
We're doing that now.
Yeah, why aren't we doing that now?
Well, we are kind of. I think they just need to win this one more.
One more, and Mahomes
And then-
has one more ring than Brady did at the same time.
Oh, well, then I just don't have football,
and they're
which
the
is typical.
first,
But
and they're the
First
first team to ever
three-peat.
three-peat.
First three-peat would be would be a massive deal. Be a massive deal.
yeah,
But yeah, nothing against Patrick. Like you're making your case, but cry more, Bills fans. Like anyone supporting the Bills and Josh Allen, feel bad for Bills and Josh Allen. Cry more.
You're not
Cry
unbiased
more.
in this situation.
I am unbiased.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
Gotta come down harder on Mason if
You're
he's gonna
not
come down
unbiased.
hard on other teams' fans.
How
your
can
wife,
you-
your wife is a Chiefs fan, and you hate the Bills because
I
they're in
do.
your division.
I hate 'em.
So how is this?
I
an
hate him. I
unbiased-
do. You know why I hate him, Ryan? Because no one talks more shit than Bills fans for doing absolutely nothing. They do nothing. They don't win. They don't win Super Bowls. They barely win AFC championship games. They can't beat Patrick Mahomes. He's their daddy. I don't care if you got to worry about the refs. I don't care if you got to worry about Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Witch Magic, whatever it is. They are your fathers. And you can't beat them the same way the Miami Dolphins can't beat the Bills. So I know what it feels like. I get it. It sucks. But for you to act like you're an upper echelon team when you ain't even been to the dance, no, you're not. You're not. And Josh Allen is an MVP this year. It's Lamar
Yeah, man,
Jackson.
you are not biased at all. Not at
I'm
all.
not.
None.
I don't know. I
I'm
thought I
just-
saw the odds change where Josh Allen overtook Lamar, but I could be wrong odds wise.
Just for my sake, the last 5 seasons, the Chiefs have the most wins in the NFL with 66. The Bills have the second with 61. That's 7 more than the next team. So
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
they win more than any of our teams. Is
They do.
something that's just true.
They do. But they talk mad shit for winning nothing. They have no rings to show for it. They don't even have a
They
Super
don't have any
Bowl appearance
rings
to
They
show
don't,
for it.
they don't have any rings or a Super Bowl appearance because Patrick Mahomes is sitting there and the Chiefs are sitting there blocking them every single AFC championship.
yeah. Well,
That's-
figure it
that's
out.
weird.
Mason's point, figure it out.
That's
So,
weird.
like-
Joe Burrow made it, right?
They could have drafted
Joe Burrow
Mahomes
went
as
to the
well.
Super Bowl, right?
But that was
But
okay.
did he play the Chiefs?
There's no talking to you through this.
No, but I'm asking. Did Joe Burrow play the Chiefs to go
He
to the Super
did.
Bowl? He didn't,
He did.
right? Because he wouldn't
He
have beat
did.
him because Josh Allen can't beat him. So there's no way that Joe Burrow did. right?
I'd like to congratulate Mason on his new role as press secretary for the White House.
Yeah.
This is great.
Oh, yes.
I'm killing it.
Very that much
I'm killing
energy.
it. I just
Let me talk about the other game. Eagles Commanders. What a great year for rookie Jaden Daniels and what the Commanders were
And
able
win.
to and what they got in Jaden Daniels and obviously propelling their franchise from nothing to
Mhm.
maybe an actual football team, right? Congrats to the year he had, but he had the 28th worst defense heading into the playoffs. So eventually that was going to come to fruition. And that's what we saw literally on the first play of the game when Saquon Barkley went for 60 yards. Saquon is an absolute beast. I think the Eagles might have a slight advantage with him in the backfield. And if Jalen can just play well enough with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, those weapons, I mean, they clearly showed how good they are offensively, but also the Eagles' defense have played really well as of late. So good for the Eagles to get back to the Super Bowl and have another chance at it. I think they're in a much better position than they were in the previous one. But I think the Commanders have shown that when you draft the right quarterback and you put the right talent around, they just have to get better defensively. Look out for the Commanders in the next few years. They're going to be on the up and up moving forward. So great season for the Commanders themselves.
Crazy they're keeping Cliff Kingsbury. That's
Yeah.
a huge win.
Huge
That's a
win.
huge win.
yeah,
And shout out the Saints for being just
Saints-
untouchable as an organization.
dude, they're so gross. They're so
It's
gross.
awesome.
No one wants
I-
to go there.
No
Hey,
one
the
wants that job.
Eagles suck. I don't like Philly. I hope they lose.
They're really
That's all I'm gonna say. They should have lost to the Rams, but the Rams blew it.
Phillies.
Oklahoma has the
Philly's
most
good.
Oklahoma has the most alumni players in the Super Bowl of any school. And the cool thing is that's just going to keep on happening as long as the Chiefs keep making it.
Yeah,
We have like
the best.
don't we have like 6 people
It
on
is.
the Chiefs?
It's something
5 or
crazy like
6?
that. 'Cause
That's
it's just
nuts.
Lane and Jalen for
Yeah,
the
on
Eagles.
the
I think.
Eagles. But like Creed is Hollywood.
Reed, Hollywood Brown.
There's several others.
Winchester,
P. Ryan.
That's his
Wanye
name.
Morris.
P. Ryan,
Ryan,
Wanye
Ryan
Morris.
Wanya. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Andy Reid knows where winners are made.
He does. He's got Bill Beanball at speed dial.
Bang.
Exactly.
Bang.
Okay, want to wrap up the show? PGP MVP of the week. Let's do it. Ryan MVP. Go ahead, man.
I
go
went to
ahead.
I went to go see a movie.
Amelia Perez.
Here it is. Here
No,
it is.
I have not seen that yet. The Brutalist. It's 3.5 hours. It's got a 15-minute intermission.
Talk about brutal.
It's literally about brutalism architecture and
Jesus
an immigration story from Hungary into America in like the 50s. Is it
Didn't
the
they use
50s?
AI during the production of the film?
It's complicated because they used AI
Doesn't sound like
to assist with the accents of the actors because Hungarian is incredibly difficult to speak, I guess, if you're not a natural born Hungarian. And then they used, I think, a little bit of AI for some like architecture drawings at the end of the film, that's a little sketchier. So, but it was like a $10 million budget. It was really, really, really like cheap to make the film compared to a lot of other films nowadays. And they did it. It's a beautiful movie. It's really, really great. Would highly recommend.
Cool.
That's mine.
Pat, who's your MVP, man?
LVP, referees in the NFL.
Love that.
Great one. Great one.
Love that. Matt, who's your MVP, man?
I'm going to the NBA, a very specific person. This insane stat that came out. LVP to.
That's awesome. Oh,
Hey, he did have a really good game and a game winner the other day. Yes, but this goes to Joel Embiid, who's missed 47% of his career regular games. He has played 446 games, but he has missed 400. Sign me up for that PTO schedule. I would love to have that. That is a pretty incredible stat.
That's crazy.
Also, honorable mention MVP to Billy Bowman, who is really showing out in the Senior
Great
Bowl.
call.
I think he is really rising his stock price. So I'm hoping to see that continue. That is what the Senior Bowl practice is all about, is showing your versatility and skill set. And he is doing exactly that. So honorable mention to Billy there.
Joel Embiid, the Josh Allen of the NBA, from what people are saying. Mark, who's your MVP?
Just unreal what you're doing, Josh Allen, today. We gotta address that again. MVP for me is gonna be Patty Gasso. I actually saw this because Mason shared it earlier on Twitter, and she was interviewed at Rudy's, shared with the audience, that's now us, that instead of playing in the Mary Nutter Classic in Palm Springs this season, Oklahoma has scheduled a bunch of games across California with mid-major schools that could probably benefit more from the money that gate tickets with an Oklahoma away team visiting could bring. I think that's just like a cool and thoughtful thing that Patty and the softball program had in mind, considering these are, schools that as NIL moves, as conference realignment moves, they're stuck in this region, right? They're just doing their own thing. This could be a real lift to the tides for some of those programs. And shout out, man. She's going to be able to motivate the team. It doesn't matter. She doesn't have to go to the Mary Nutter Classic. MVP, Patty Gasso.
Is that also is it also connected to like fire relief and stuff like that?
I don't
No,
know.
I believe they were all
Oh.
scheduled already because I looked
Okay.
it up.
Okay. All right.
Mary Nutter, hardly know her. My MVP,
Yes.
or I should say LVP, is the geography of the United States. My wife's birthday is this weekend. I wanted to go somewhere warm for her birthday. We're going to the Bahamas in March.
Oh yeah.
So I
Hell
wanted to
yeah.
go not
yeah.
beach. So I was like, hey, let's go to Arizona. Arizona will be fun. Did all the booking, going to Sedona, Arizona. Didn't realize
great
Sedona
place.
is a mountainous region. It's going to be
Should
colder.
ask me.
It's going to be colder in Arizona.
This seems
than
like an error
Oklahoma.
on your part,
It is.
Mason.
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's an error on my part,
Like,
but
that
it's
is
an
dry
LVP
desert.
to our. It's an LVP to our geography. For
It's the
because-
geography's fault.
Yeah, northern
geography's fault.
Arizona.
I mean, you could have gone to Florida.
Northern Arizona, chillier.
Charleston.
Southern Arizona, Phoenix, warmer. Should have done that. That's on me. Hand up. I messed up. So that's my problem. But
Well, Sedona's beautiful, so you're gonna have a
I
great
know.
time.
Looking forward to it. Happy birthday, Katie Beth. Love you, baby. That's gonna do it. Episode 160. In the books, be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Find us on all of our social media at Program Guys with a Z. On our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where you can find us. Patrick, that's going to do it. Take us out, brother.
Keep pushing it, baby.